One thing about me is that I love to sleep.
Like, I love it.
Through the years of post-undergrad adulthood, I've learned how to be a morning person. Yes, because I had to clock in for morning shifts, but also because I genuinely enjoyed the feeling of it. But I've never been a 5 a.m. morning person. 5 a.m. is like my peak REM time. Hey everyone, welcome back. And if you're new here, I'm Blaine Christopher, and this is Blaine's Book Club. I wanted to challenge myself to wake up Monday through Friday at 5 a.m. and read. You're just gonna read at 5 a.m. for an hour and then go back to sleep? No. Well, I'm not supposed to do that. I want to be up and stay up. I want to know if throughout this challenge, do I feel more productive than usual? Do I feel more organized and confident? Do I feel better than everyone else? Or do I feel more sluggish than usual? Is a week enough to feel the positive effects? Is this 5 a.m. life for me? Let's find out. And stick around for my reviews of The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager and None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell. The None of This Is True review will contain spoilers, but don't worry, I'll warn ya in advance. My hair looks crazy, y'all. It's so early that my cats haven't even started begging for food yet. Around 6:30 or 7, Fig will catapult off my stomach to wake me up. But not this morning, because I'm awake at 4:54. That's disgusting. Good morning. Shall we peruse my bookshelf? I think we shall. Oh, hi. So we're mainly gonna look up here, because this is where a lot of my fall TBR lives. I just finished The Only Good Indians and Bury Your Gaze, and those are both horror. So I'm thinking maybe I'll go for a mystery or a thriller. I'm gonna go for The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. I guess that's not on my TBR. I know it just looked like I stood there thinking, but I actually zoned out. All right, plot twist, adding The House Across the Lake to my fall TBR, and that is what I'm gonna start reading today. Okay, I need caffeine, and I'm 100,000% gonna read this in my bed, but I'm not gonna fall back asleep. I've been trying to stick to coffee and not energy drinks because my caffeine addiction is bad, but I think this event calls for a Celsius. This lighting. Do I want peach mango and green tea? That sounds lovely, actually. And it's fizz free. Sometimes when I drink an energy, okay. I fell back asleep. So, day 1, failure. Mission failed. I got 33 pages into the book. I'm really liking it so far. However, the power of sleep did take over me around like 7. And now it's 8. So it's like I took like a nap, you guys. Like it wasn't like I went back to sleep, right? No, I'm definitely going to still count this as a failure, but that's okay because we grow from our mistakes, you know? I think to be more successful when I do this tomorrow morning, I'm not going to read in my bed. And if I feel my eyes start to close, I'm going to go for a walk outside. You know, I used to think the people that got up at 5 a.m. to go work out were crazy. But I think they're still crazy. But if you're going to be up early, it definitely makes sense to kind of move your body more to keep yourself alert. I could not fall asleep last night. I think I finally fell asleep at like 2:30 maybe. So I did not get a real night's sleep last night. I'm pissed off and I'm cranky and I'm annoyed. So since I failed yesterday, did I fail? I woke up at 4:45. I didn't fall asleep till 7, okay? I woke back up at 8, but then I did take a nap later in the day. So yeah, I failed. Today I'm making some adjustments. Instead of reading in my bed, I am reading on this couch. I am going to read until 7 a.m., maybe 7:30. And if I start to feel tired, like I'm gonna fall asleep, I am gonna go for a walk. And that is my game plan. I have something to say. Should anyone really be awake before 6 a.m.? As I said that, I'm remembering my Starbucks days where I had to be at work at 6 a.m. Pretty sure I had to be at work at like 5 or 5:30. Whatever. I worked at Starbucks for like 2 months. I remember being so excited to be like, I have a game plan. And now that it's this early, I'm like, I'm too tired. I'm too tired to say anything about this book right now. I'm gonna just start reading. I will check in with you later. didn't fall asleep. Progress. Around 7:30, I got very, very caffeinated, got in a text fight with my friend, cleaned my apartment, and now I'm gonna edit my video. The friend and I worked it out. Don't even worry. Don't even worry. And yes, it was Ethan. Ethan's already started, but it did serve. Waking up early today to read felt good and productive and nice. I will say I had like 4 hours of sleep. I have nothing more to add to that, actually. I think it's good that I didn't really sleep very well last night because now I'm so tired that I foresee myself going to bed at like 8 p.m. I think once I get a lot more sleep in my system, tomorrow when I wake up at 5, I'm gonna just feel a lot better. Sometimes you have to hurt yourself. Sometimes you just have to push yourself to get the results you want. Yeah, that sounds better. I woke up at 5:07 and my alarm was going off, which means my annoying ass alarm went off for 7 minutes and I slept through it. Didn't even register. It must have permeated my dreams. I don't really remember my dreams very well, like ever. I don't know for sure if it did permeate my dreams. I feel great. I feel a lot better than I did past couple days. I will say I'm a little concerned because today is the first day my cats are like active this early. Monday and Tuesday they were all still sleeping when I was up, and now they're all staring at me, wanting to be fed. I'm gonna do my best to hold out to feed them until 6 because I'm really not trying to have my cats wake me up at 5 a.m. when this challenge is over. I don't feel like I've talked at all about The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. The book opens up talking about the dark waters of Lake Green, and the narrator compares the water of the lake to looking at a house with the lights on at night. You can see past the surface, but only so far. No matter how much you look, something just beneath the surface will always remain hidden. I should know. I've been watching. Okay. And then it jumps to now. Our protagonist, Casey, is talking to a detective. The detective is like, have you been watching the Royce house across the lake? And Casey's like, yeah. And the detective is asking questions about this missing man who is the husband of her friend who is also missing. The detective is like, are you sure you have no idea what happened to him or where he is? Casey's like, no, you can like check my house if you want to. And the detective is like, no, I believe you for now. And then leaves. Casey heads upstairs, opens a bedroom door, and the missing man is exactly where she left him. Ankles and wrists tied to the bedpost. She takes a long, slow sip of bourbon. She's an alcoholic and says, we're running out of time. Tell me what you did to Catherine. And what I've read so far after that is before, I guess, Casey kidnaps this man. I don't really know. I am gonna get caffeinated and keep reading. I fell back asleep. Don't look at me like that. Guess what time I dozed off? 7 a.m. This time I only really took like a little cat nap. I woke up at 7:45 and the sun was out. There's something about waking up early when the sun is out that makes sense to me and my body. Because I can be a morning person. But you know what it is? 5 a.m. isn't the morning.
It is.
It's not. 5 a.m. is the night. It's nighttime. Anybody who has to wake up even earlier than that to go to work should be paid triple what they're making. I don't want to do this anymore. My body woke up naturally at 4:58 before my alarm. That scares me. I'm so tired. My body hasn't adjusted to going to bed early. I try, but it doesn't work. I'm still consistently getting 3 to 5 hours of sleep, and I think that's why this has been so difficult for me to stay awake. And then I took a shower this morning before coming out here to read because showers always reset me. And I was in my shower and I was kind of like, I really need to reframe my mindset around this because there are so many people who have to get up so early to go to work, and I have the privilege of getting up early to read a book I like. So I'm trying to check myself a little bit. I'm not loving the way this video is going. I feel like it's just been 4 days of me complaining. I don't like that. Not only do I not want to present myself like that, I also don't want to be that negative for so long. It's interesting because yesterday I was like hanging out with my friend and I was saying I'm actually so excited to wake up to read. So there's moments where I'm like, yay, waking up at 5 a.m. to read when it's not 5 a.m. A few things. It is now 7:21 a.m. I did not go back to sleep. I'm very awake. That feels good. I'm committed to finishing this book today. I feel good. Good morning. I showered before starting today because that seemed to help yesterday. When I woke up this morning, I could not open my eyes. I can barely open my eyes. But I got my ass in the shower and now we're gonna read. Last night I made a poll asking for your help what to choose next. And as of right now at 5 a.m., between None of This Is True by Lisa Jewell and The Housemaid by Frida McFadden, Lisa Jewell's None of This Is True won. So we're gonna start reading this morning. I'm very excited because I have zero idea what this book is about and I love going into into shit blind. So yay. Also, this is my friend Liz's recommendation. So hi Liz, I'm reading your book. Well, your book recommendation. You're not Lisa Jewell, unless you are. That'd be really cool. Okay, I'm gonna go read now. The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager is a thriller mystery that set a certain tone for me right as I opened the book, due to the fact that it had an epigraph quoting Miss Taylor Swift. I think he did it, but I just can't prove it, from her song No Body, No Crime, which I believe is on her Evermore album. I kind of like that Riley, she was like, fuck it, I'm gonna quote Taylor Swift, except on a Google search, I found out that Riley Sager is a man. I was shook. There's like this refreshing femininity in his writing, and I posted about it on my Instagram story, and I thought maybe I was being like a little dramatic, but a lot of people, and by a lot I mean like 4, swiped up on my Instagram story, and they were also like shocked and confused. Like, okay, Mr. Riley Sager, but girlies, don't worry, I checked, he's queer. Close call. The House Across the Lake takes you through some pretty fun twists that had me rereading certain sections just to make sure they made sense. And when they did, it was so satisfying. Like when you're solving a crossword puzzle and all the answers kind of start coming together, leading you to other answers. That's right, Diva. I do the New York Times crossword puzzle, and what about it? Okay, so our main character, Casey Fletcher, like the lesbian singer. Wait, controversial. Anyway, Casey Fletcher. She was a Hollywood actress, Nepo baby, girly pop. And her husband, named Len, recently passed away. Since then, she's been followed around the city by paps, the paparazzi. Relatable. And she's gone back to her party girl ways, drinking to numb her dark memories and feelings. Her mother, who is this Broadway legend, sent her to the family lake house to hide from the paparazzi. And this house looks out onto the lake where her husband drowned and died, because that makes sense for a mother to do to her grown adult child, I guess. So one day, Casey is drinking her sorrows away, and she's looking out at the lake. And she sees something in the water, and then she's like, wait, someone's drowning. I know what drowning looks like because my husband drowned. So she springs into action. She gets out the boat, jumps into the cold-ass water, and is like, oh my fucking god, she's fucking dead. And as she's dragging this woman's like lifeless body to the boat, the woman chokes up some water, and she's alive. And Casey's like, whoa, it's supermodel Catherine Royce. Catherine and Casey become fast friends, as Casey has just saved her life, and they're both from similar industries, similar worlds. Catherine lives across the lake from Casey in this huge house with huge windows with her tech bro asswipe Tom. So after this incident, as Casey and Catherine get to know each other, Casey starts spying on the Royces. I mean, their house is right there across the lake, and they got huge windows, so when the lights are on at night, you can see right in. For some reason, rich people hate curtains, so she can pretty much see everything. Casey sees the married couple frequently arguing, and Catherine has been dropping some red flags in conversation that her husband would get rid of her to keep her money, because tech bro asswipe invested all of his money into his app, and he has to rely on his badass supermodel wife Catherine to pay for his life. One early morning or late night, Casey hears a scream. Later on that day, she sees that Catherine is mysteriously missing. Her husband says she's gone back to the city, but Casey is suspicious. And so is Casey's hunky neighbor, Boone. So fallen star alcoholic Casey teams up with hunky sober ex-cop Boone, Boone's friend who is a detective, and I forgot her name, Wilma, and an older gentleman who has been family friends with Casey throughout the years. They team up to prove that Tom Royce killed his wife, supermodel Catherine Royce. And shit goes absolutely crazy. If you haven't Have I been holding it backwards this whole time? If you haven't heard about this book, seen reviews on Goodreads, heard about any genres or themes or whatever, don't Google anything. Don't Google anything. Get the book and read it, go in blind, because I don't think I would have liked this book as much as I did had I not gone in blind while reading it, because the twists are fun. This book was a solid 3.5, leaning 4-star for me. It really captivated me, and if I wasn't doing a 5 a.m. reading challenge, I probably would have been reading it a lot quicker, but a girl was tired. My biggest critique of this book is that the alcoholism borderlined parody in a way. I completely understand that an alcoholic's next thought is what they can drink and when they can drink it, but I feel like it could have been done and written in a more clever and elevated way. It felt a bit like a CW teen drama's idea of what a drinking problem looks like. I like that the characters were very easy to picture, and even when the story diverted from my expectations, the characters still made sense to me. I was definitely rooting for Casey. I was not really emotionally attached. I was attached to Catherine Royce. I cared about her and her well-being, and that really drove me to keep reading to try to figure out what happened. Addressing earlier when I mentioned that Riley Sager writes with a refreshing femininity, I meant that in a way, in my opinion, the way the women spoke to each other felt real and complete, and not like the idea of how women communicate by a man. There was strength in these characters, and I didn't feel like the women needed men to protect them. There's a theme in this book, and it twists into a different theme, and that's all I can really say without getting into spoilers. And I want to protect this specific review from spoilers because I had such an amazing time reading it. But if you want a review with spoilers, next up, we're going to talk about Lisa Jewell's None of This Is True. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert. I don't have much to say about this book outside of spoilers. So, spoiler alert. My friend Cami and I were pre-gaming the other day, and she brought up that she read this book. And so I was like, okay, oh my God, I'm going to go in the other room and you should record yourself and your thoughts on the book, and then I'll respond to them once I've read it. And she was like, it's been a while, but I remember the plot pretty well. And I was like, hey, so now I'm gonna react to what she says.
Hey, Blaine's Book Club. So I'm a special guest. What I'm most excited about is obviously the main twist at the end that she's been fabricating pretty much every part of her life. This character is not to be trusted. Josie. Yeah.
Josie pissed me off so much. I still think she was a victim of grooming and that her husband is definitely a pedophile, even if it turns out he wasn't having an affair with Roxy's underage friend or abusing his daughter. Now, what's really interesting to me is that Josie didn't need to pile on the lies. If her goal was sympathy and to villainize her husband, just saying you felt controlled and abused at 15 is enough, I fear. Josie was 15 and her husband was like 42. Ew. But she needed more sympathy. She needed more control over the narrative. She needed to make sure that everyone around her that she felt like she couldn't control was buried in order to feel like she can live not even a free life, like she kept saying, but an idealized version of life. She can be famous for rising above tragedy and have shiny things and live a perfect life that she feels like was robbed from her. So it's interesting because yes, she's a victim, but she's also evil and manipulating and a murderer and an abuser herself, tying up her daughter, lying that her husband was abusing her daughter because she was jealous of the healthy family dynamic they had without her. Even like, even saying that feels wrong because, sorry, just because he's a good dad, he's still a pedo who slept and groomed an underage girl. But saying he's a good dad, like, and that feeling wrong is a big part of what makes this book so complicated and good. The controversialness, is that a word? It is today. The controversialness of that line of what is true and what is not made me as a reader feel uneasy, and the morality of truth. Again, it's just so complicated. Josie was definitely an unreliable narrator. I could not stand her. I feel like I just know her breath smells.
What I'm also excited for Blaine to experience is realizing that even though Alex has like this picture perfect life, that obviously there's also something wrong with her to invite this person into her life and to let her have the hold on her life that she does.
Absolutely. I kept waiting for Alex to just lose her shit on Josie, but she contained herself herself because she desperately wanted to level up in her journalistic aspirations that Josie's story could give her. And Alex mentions that she missed all these red flags that Josie was dropping. But I agree with you, Cami, that something is also wrong with Alex, because I don't think she missed the red flags. I think she purposefully ignored them because she knew that something fucked up was going to bubble up and launch her podcast into success and maybe even legacy territory. And I think she knew she was playing with her husband's life and decided to take the risk. But at the same time, I don't think she realized how much the loss of her husband would affect her until it happened. And I think she despised Josie the entire time and maybe got sucked into her shit at the beginning, but then she started to sprint towards Josie's shit when she thought it could get her what she wanted.
I'm also just interested to see if Blaine sees the twist coming, because I feel like they're very intuitive and they're freaking Scorpio, so we know they're into freaky ass shit.
Oh, thank you. I definitely knew Josie was a liar and a freak, but also, like you, I believed in aspects of her story. Like, I completely believe that her husband was sleeping with the teenager Brooke, and I believe that the husband was abusing Aaron, because in the moment when I thought Josie was ignoring the abuse, I was absolutely livid and I could not stand her ass. So I can't pretend I knew that the dad was just playing video games with his gamer streamer daughter. But I will say, once Josie came to Alex's house and was like, I'm a victim of domestic abuse and I was beat up by my husband and my daughter ran away to a friend's house, I was like, all right, wrap it up. They're dead as hell.
The stuff with the kids I know is pretty controversial, but I'm intrigued to see their opinion on that as well.
I do think that Roxy ended up killing Brooke and Josie covered it up for her, but I think that unlocked a door in Josie's brain that was like, oh, it's easy to murder people and okay, and I can get away with it. Murder is the answer. Yay, murder. I'm a murderer. I like to murder. As far as the controversial aspect, I'm assuming you're talking about the children defending their father against their mother and saying Josie stole him from her mother rather than saying that Josie was groomed by her mother's boyfriend. All I really have to say to that is everyone in this book sucks. Okay, thank you, Cami, for your prompts. You made this so much more fun. Overall, None of This Is True was a great read. I absolutely flew through it. I think I finished this in 3 sittings, which is very quick for me. My favorite part about this book was having so much fun flying through it and needing to know what happened next. And I'll always take bits and pieces of London when I can take it. However, I don't know if I would ever reread this book. Josie is absolutely insufferable, and now that I know what happens, I'm not really inclined to pick it back up ever again. I'd watch a movie though. 1 week, waking up at 5 a.m., 2 books. I think we can say this week was a success. I can't say I had an easy time being awake because that would be lying, but I had a great time reading these books. Since filming this challenge, actually, I've been getting up at 6:30 or 7, and instead of checking social media, I've been reading. And that makes this challenge a success for me. Life is all about balance and finding what works best for you, but also pushing yourself to make yourself better sometimes. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you want. Also, send me your recommendations. I keep my list updated. All right, bye everyone. Can't wait to wake up not at 5 a.m.